They don't just lie. That's too obvious. Real manipulators do something far more dangerous. They tell you almost the truth. Enough truth to feel safe. Enough truth to stop you from questioning. Without realizing it, you start defending their version of reality. Today I'm showing you how manipulation works when it feels calm, logical, and reasonable. This is dark psychology. Once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Most people think manipulation looks aggressive, shouting, gaslighting, pressure. That's amateur work. Real manipulators feel reasonable. They sound calm and explain themselves with perfect clarity. That's the trap. Your brain isn't designed to fight calm explanations. It's designed to accept them. When someone speaks without emotion, your nervous system relaxes. Relaxed people don't question narratives. High-level manipulation feels like a rational conversation. This is why it almost never feels wrong at first. The core mechanism is the 90-10ths rule. 90% truth, 10% distortion. Truth builds credibility, and credibility disables your natural skepticism. Once your brain accepts the 90%, it automatically swallows the 10% poison. Not because you're stupid, but because your brain is built for efficiency. Efficiency is the ultimate exploitable flaw of the human mind. Imagine someone says, "I was late because my tire went flat. I had to call roadside service. I'm exhausted. You know I hate being late." They look tired. They sound sincere. You don't question the tire. You focus on their exhaustion. The exhaustion is real. But the actual reason they were late? That's where the lie lives, buried under layers of truth. Once a story feels emotionally consistent, facts lose power. The human brain protects identity, not objective truth. When a fact threatens someone's self-image, they don't correct themselves. They rewrite the story first internally, then externally. You're no longer arguing about facts. You're threatening who they believe they are. This is why logic stops working. When manipulators feel exposed, projection activates. They assign their behavior to you. Their dishonesty becomes your aggression. Their guilt becomes your manipulation. Their fear becomes your control. This isn't always a conscious strategy. It is a deep psychological defense mechanism. Once others hear this story often enough, it becomes a social reality. Truth becomes irrelevant. This is why manipulation is so isolating. You can't point to one clear lie. Everything sounds plausible, making you doubt your own senses. Self-doubt is a byproduct of narrative control. When reality is rewritten quietly, the victim looks confused while the manipulator looks composed. Manipulation is about controlling which version of reality feels safest. Once you understand this, the power shifts back through clarity. If this resonated, you are noticing patterns most ignore. Awareness is the path to freedom. Manipulation doesn't end when the story is told. It continues because it settles into behavior. You start adjusting, not because you agree, but because resisting becomes exhausting. You explain yourself less. You justify yourself more. Slowly, responsibility shifts onto you. Manipulative dynamics work because they disconnect you from your internal reference point. You don't lose the truth first. You lose trust in your own judgment. And once that trust is gone, external explanations start to feel more valid than your own perception. That is not accidental. That is the objective. Whoever controls interpretation doesn't just decide what happened, but what feels reasonable. That's why leaving often feels wrong, even when staying hurts. Your nervous system has learned that questioning creates tension, while compliance creates calm. And calm feels like safety, even when it's built on distortion. The most dangerous phase is not open conflict. It's the moment you believe you just need to do better. That's where self-erasure begins. Manipulation survives because you keep optimizing yourself while the other side stays unchanged. Once you see this, your position shifts. You stop explaining and start observing. You listen for patterns instead of promises, repetition instead of sincerity, gaps instead of details. You notice inconsistency not in facts, but in coherence. That sensation is not paranoia. It's orientation. Truth doesn't always feel comforting, but it feels stable. Manipulation feels logical, yet internally unstable. The exit is not confrontation. It's internal alignment. The moment your own experience regains authority, the narrative loses control. Power doesn't collapse through evidence. It collapses through clarity. And clarity begins when you trust yourself again. Manipulation becomes strongest after you understand it. Because now the question is no longer what is happening, but why you stay. At this stage, the manipulation doesn't push you. It waits. It relies on your empathy, on your hope, on your need for resolution. You start thinking, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I should be calmer. Maybe if I explain it better. That's the final trap, because manipulation doesn't need to convince you anymore. It just needs you to keep doubting yourself. Notice this pattern. Healthy dynamics respond to clarity with clarity. Manipulative dynamics respond to clarity with confusion. When you state a boundary, things get blurry. When you ask a direct question, answers get abstract. When you ask for accountability, the focus shifts to your tone, your timing, your intention. That's not miscommunication. That's displacement. The moment you stop asking, how do I fix this? And start asking, why does this always feel unstable? You're already stepping out. Manipulation loses power when it can no longer define reality for you. Not loudly, quietly. And the clearest sign you're regaining control is this: you stop needing them to understand. That's when the loop breaks.